Genesis chapters 46 through 48, from our Torah chat points from a few weeks ago, we read about Jacob, Israel, blessing his children before his passing. Today, we're not only going to identify the tribes, but we're also going to read about the blessings from Israel, the person, and from Moses and their allotted land. All this information is important to know, not only because you and I both have joined the tribe of Israel by believing in the Messiah, but you need to know the Bible to prevent from being misled or any lies or untruth that people seems to draw a conclusion from the Bible. But to understand the things that is going on in the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, and then all the way to the Brit Hadashah, which is the New Testament. Welcome to Reconcile with the Kingdom, where we're working towards becoming a harmony of the whole word of truth. My name is PATRICE Robinson, and I appreciate you as usual by stopping by, hitting that subscribe button, comment, and sharing this video as a way of you showing your support. Now, don't forget to grab your Bible, your pen, and your paper, and we're just going to get started on this. Just as a reminder, we have a nation that is called Israel due to Abraham's grandson by Isaac, whose name was changed from Jacob to Israel by Jehovah. This person named Israel had 12 sons, which grew into a great nation of Israel. The 12 sons were fruitful and they multiplied from 70 souls that were in Egypt in the beginning to a mixed multitude leaving Egypt. Prior to the exodus of Egypt, the father of the children of Israel, Jacob, gave his sons his last words of blessing. Prior to that, Israel met with Joseph's sons. With Joseph's sons, he adopted them, both of the children. So it went from 12 children of Israel to 14 children of Israel. As the children of Joseph, which is Manasseh and Ephraim, Jacob switched hands. So Manasseh being the firstborn and Ephraim being the secondborn, he switched his hands from Ephraim getting the firstborn blessing, and Manasseh is turning to the secondborn. So he said the younger will be greater than the second one, and which means that Ephraim will be a great nation. Now, this sounds familiar, doesn't it? This is exactly what happened between him and his brother Esau. Jacob got the firstborn blessing and became a great nation. Now, Esau was also blessed to have a huge nation too, but Jacob is the blessing of the promise. You will get a better understanding of all of this in the future as we bring more things together. Again, this is about knowing the Bible as what it says and not walking around believing everything that everyone says. This is for you to search these things to make sure they are the whole word of truth. We all are guilty of listening to people, and it changes our lives. But it's also our responsibility to research and make sure what someone is saying is truth. And how do we apply the word of Jehovah in our lives? In Genesis chapter 49, Israel, the person, summoned his sons to tell them about their future. So let's talk about each one of these children and the blessings. Reuben. Reuben is the eldest, the firstborn by Leah. But Israel said to Reuben that he is unstable as water because he had relations with Bilhah, which is Rachel's handmaid, and Jacob's concubine. So Bilhah was the mother of Dan and Naphtali. So he had relations with his stepmother. So that was the blessing from Israel. Moses blessed Reuben's tribe before crossing over to the promised land. He said for the tribe to live and not die, nor his people to be few. Now this tribe decided not to settle in the promised land, which did not go over well with Moses, and felt the same as the rebellion that led to 40 years of wandering in the wilderness. Believe me, Moses reminded them about this. This tribe, along with Gad's tribe, had to reassure Moses that this is not what this is all about. They had to reassure and commit to help fight with their brethren so that they also will receive their allotment and their inheritance. Simeon. Simeon is the second born by Leah, but he made a very risky, dangerous, unwise decision to attack and kill the males of Shechem. Now, this is because they was putting on a revenge plot because of their sister Dinah. Remember, this was about trickery and deceit. He wasn't alone. His brother Levi was a part of this behavior, who reacted out of anger. Simeon blessing, if you would, is to be scattered among Israel, the nation. This is the tribe land allotment in the enclave in the land of Judah. This is the only tribe that Moses did not mention in Deuteronomy 33. The Bible does not say why, but this tribe did not receive a blessing from Moses. Levi, the third born, the third son. With Simeon, you remember he was with Simeon, and they both joined in, reacting out of their anger because what happened to their sister, and deceived the men to be circumcised, that they're going to join in, and the men thought they was going to become a part of the tribe of Israel. But instead, Levi and Simeon slay the men, and Levi received the same blessing of Simeon. Levi was the third son of Leah. Levi did not receive any allotment of land, but was given towns to live in because they were serving as ministers and teachers of the instructions, some might say the law, to the tribes. This was one thing you must understand, and this is what we have to understand. Not all Levites were priests. The priests were from Aaron's bloodline. The other Levites was assigned specific duties within the tabernacle and within the temple when the temple was built, and transporting the furniture. However, all the Levites were set apart from others. There was a famous person in the New Testament that was from the tribe of Levi that had sold his land because the Levites was not supposed to own property, specific land, because that was what they were not allowed to do. They was given cities, but he sold his property, and that was Barnabas. Moses did speak a blessing for the Levites to be blessed in their skills, and that Jehovah will be pleased by the work of their hands. The fourth born is Judah. Judah is the fourth son of Leah. The tribe received a large allotment, and probably because they were the largest tribe of them all. Jacob's words of blessing is that this tribe would be a tribe of kingship, and that the scepter would not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until he to whom he belongs shall come, and the obedience of the nation shall be his. Now, this is the Messianic prophecy, and this is why we have Messiah coming out of this bloodline. Judah becomes the southern kingdom, and you will learn more about that in the future for those who is not aware of that. We will go over that. Judah also led the children to the promised land. Moses blessed the tribe and asked Jehovah to hear their cry, that the tribe of Judah's hands will defend its cause and help them against their enemies. Dan is the fifth child to be born after Rachel was upset that she was unable to bear any children. She gave Bilhah, her handmaid, of course, to Jacob, and gave birth to Dan. The blessing Jacob gave Dan is that he will provide justice to his people, and he will be a snake by the roadside. Well, if you learn the history of this tribe, you might get an understanding about this blessing, if you say. If you read about the Song of Deborah, you will find out that this tribe did not join in the fight with his people. In fact, they stayed on the ship. Now, there were judges that came from this bloodline. Just to name one, Samson was one of the judges that came from this tribe. And you can learn more about the tribe and the adultery by reading Judges chapter 18. Moses' blessing was for Dan is a lion cub, and he will pounce on his enemies. When it comes to their land of allotment, they did get some, but they did not conquer the Philistines. Naphtali is another child that was born from Rachel's handmaid Bilhah. This tribe was praised in Deborah's song because of their courage. This also is the tribe that supported David when he was fighting against King Saul. Their inheritance was Galilee. Israel's blessing was about beauty and how the tribe was a doe let loose and has grace. Moses stated Naphtali is full of blessings. Gad is a tribe that joined in with Simeon, who settled outside the promised land. This was another tribe that supported David in his conquest as acknowledgement as being brave, which is the blessing Israel, the person said to Gad, will be attacked, but they will attack by the hills. They will attack the hills. This tribe land allotment was given along Jordan River. Gad's mother was Zilpah, which is Leah's handmaid. And once she figured out that she was unable to carry children anymore, that's where Zilpah came in. Asher is the eighth child that was born from Zilpah, who was allotted the land along the Mediterranean Sea. He was blessed by Jacob, Israel, that this tribe would be prosperous, as he talked about how rich his food will be, his delicacies will fit like a king. Moses' blessings was having favor with his brothers and bathed his feet in oil. After Leah got hold of mandrakes, a plant from her son Reuben, she used this plant and was able to have the ninth child, Issachar. Jacob blessing the Issachar is as sturdy as a donkey, which would describe these men as being wise, wisdom. They understood the times and what Israel should do. Moses blessed them and Zebulun as a feast of abundance of the sea. Speaking of Zebulun, the 10th child, the son of Leah, he was blessed by Jacob, Israel, as prosperous merchants of the seashore, just like his brother Issachar. This is another supported tribe to David. As we stated before, they have the same blessing as Issachar that Moses gave Issachar. Joseph is the 11th child. This is the son that was born by Rachel. Joseph was a famous dreamer who wasn't aware that his journey through life would go from slavery to the second in charge of Egypt, the governor. Joseph was not allowed land, but his sons Ephraim and Manasseh was allotted land. Manasseh had west of the Jordan River. Then half of the tribe had the east of the Jordan River. Ephraim had a small portion of land. Remember, Ephraim will grow larger than Manasseh because of the prophecy is that there will be a multitude of nations that comes out of Ephraim. Moses blesses him by asking Jehovah to bless him with the best gifts and fullness, prosperous and fertile, which we know that exactly what ends up happening. Benjamin is the 12th and the last son of Rachel. Jacob blessed them and stated he is a ravenous wolf and that he would devour his prey. There was a time the tribe was almost exterminated in the book of Judges. I encourage you to read about that civil war and, just read about it and learn more about that. Although this tribe was supported King Saul and fought against David, they did eventually come alongside David. Moses' blessing was that they would rest securely in Jehovah and he will shield them. Their land was a small portion of the land of Jerusalem. I do realize that we just talked about 14 tribes of Israel. And as you will read, you will recognize that the Bible says something like the tribe of Ephraim as a replacement instead of the tribe of Israel. Although there are 14 tribes, there were only 12 that inherited land. I hope that you have learned something today and you will do your own research about the 14 tribes of Israel. Remember, there's 12 sons that was born from Israel. He adopted Joseph's sons, Joseph and Manasseh, but there was only 12 land allotted. Joseph did not get any land, and Levi did not get any land. Levi got cities within the different tribal lands. So it's important to know all of that as a foundational part of recognizing and learning more about the Tanakh, the Old Testament, and again, the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament. Now, don't forget to join me on Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. for the Torah Chat Points. We're in the book of Exodus. And I will see you next Saturday at 10 o'clock a.m. For our next series of Hanukkah versus Christmas. May Jehovah bless you and keep you. May Jehovah shine his face on you and give you his favor. May Jehovah shine his face towards you and give you his peace. In the name of Yeshua, amen. Thank you.